Hello, everyone. I'm Sam Eckmann of Gold Derby. I am here with Brian Darcy James, star of the recent revival of Into the Woods on Broadway. Brian, I don't know if you felt this, but when the cast for this revival was announced, I think the theater world we all lost our collective minds because it was just about everyone you'd ever want to see in Into the Woods. Was that kind of excitement palpable to you on the other side of the equation?
Yeah, well, it was exciting for me as someone who was invited into the process. I'd never worked with a lot of these folks before, so yeah, getting a chance to work with Gavin and Sarah Bareilles, of course, and meeting new people who I'd never worked with or had never met, like Julia Lester. It was just an extraordinary group of people that had already kind of started. So I was the new kid on the block when we started for the Broadway production.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Sarah. She was the baker's wife to your baker. And I think, some of the most fun of this production, for me anyway, was watching the chemistry between you two, especially during It Takes Two. Because there's just so many ways you can play around with that song, like an infinite amount of possibilities. So can you just talk a little bit about how you both found your rhythm with that?
Sure. Well, first of all, it's very helpful when, you're completely enamored with the person that you're working with. And that was the case with me, looking up to Sarah as a musician, as a songwriter, as a performer. I had seen her act in different shows and on TV, but I'd never seen her on stage. And so to kind of see and witness very quickly and see how much of a theater person she is. I mean, she's an incredible actor, and who was very, very generous about figuring out and collaborating what this relationship was going to be with these two people. And so I think when you have that kind of generosity of spirit and that openness, along with the massive talent that she holds, there's a lot of potential there for finding something that is unique. And hopefully what you're talking about is, I think the two of us had a good solid respect for each other, and we're intrigued and tickled by the things that we did in the moments, to kind of keep it real and to keep it honest and to continue to communicate as two people who are in a relationship as characters. But again, the overriding thing for me, at least, was just being, having those moments in the back of my head when I'm singing a harmony line with Sarah Bareilles. It's kind of on a Broadway stage. You are kind of saying, "Wow, this is pretty great. I love my job." So yeah, I mean, I just have such regard and such gratitude that I got to spend that time with her, creating that relationship.
Yeah. And these characters, this show is so beloved, and these characters are so beloved. And when I was reminding myself of your career, a lot of your Broadway career has been new works. Um, do you feel more pressure when you step into something like this, where people come in with a notion of what it's going to be?
Yeah, I think you do. I think it might not be pressure as much as it is a responsibility to uphold, especially in this case, with such a beloved and iconic and exquisite show like this one, created by Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine. Those are titans, and you want to do them justice by what you contribute to it. So there is definitely an awareness of wanting to do well by what's come before you, not only the productions, but also the performances and the people that breathe life into these characters from the beginning. You want to continue and uphold that legacy. So yeah, I think there's an unconscious and sometimes very conscious awareness of that. I'll just say it again, the responsibility of that. And maybe sometimes it does feel like a little bit of a pressure, but thankfully for this version, I kind of felt like we had our own particular world that Lear DeBessenet had created for us. So that also gives you license to feel like, okay, while you feel responsible, you're not beholden to a particular pattern or a design that preceded it. and you can find your own way and have your own voice. And I think that was hopefully successful in our production, which I think it was.
Oh, I would definitely say so. I think one of the things that I appreciated was that made it stand out as something different and new was just, it's a city center transfer. So by design, it's done in a more minimal way, which really put the focus on the lyrics. And I was surprised at how many stood out to me in new ways, despite, being a theater fan who plays those old recordings over and over. Was there any new discovery for you in these lyrics because of that setting?
Constantly. Constantly. I mean, that's the thing about these lyrics and this score. I mean, musically and the lyrics that go along with it. There are shades of things that you never heard before. There are different meanings that you never realized. There are things that you realize that Sondheim was doing that are connecting this word at this point in the paragraph with this word at this point in the paragraph, or even this word in this part of the act that comes back in the second act. I mean, the appreciation, the respect, and the awe that I have for his mind and how he wrote and what he wrote. I have grown in my appreciation for that. So yeah, when you're doing it too, that's what's so great about doing Sondheim, is that it's kind of an endless plumbing of the depths. You can't really, if you have your eyes open and you're open, your heart is open as well, and you're committed to just being there, you're going to constantly find new things and new meanings and new reverberations. And so yeah, I mean, that's a long way of saying, yeah, I was completely surprised and had all kinds of revelations every single night.
Hmm. I think one of the numbers for me that did that a lot was No More, which is a big moment for your character. It's kind of interesting to have almost like an 11 o'clock number placement, but it's such an intimate song, and it's rare to have a leading man, I think, on Broadway singing with such regret and in that way. But it's something you did quite well. What was your experience like with that song?
Well, it is a very special song. I'll just start by saying that the thing that made it so made me look forward to it so much was doing it with David Patrick Kelly, who plays the mysterious man and the narrator in our production. Sitting there with him and having created this relationship and talked about and imagined and dreamed about what this relationship was for a father and a son that hadn't ever really had the chance to grow for all kinds of reasons, that the show explains. Filling in that history, trying to understand what that relationship was, and then just having such appreciation for the magic that David Patrick Kelly brings, and the simplicity and the power of his honesty and his performance, and just his authentic self of being there and being so present. I'm moved thinking about it, because it really was an honor to do that. Because when things are cooking along and there are people that you're working with that are so present, and so powerful, that's really half the battle, and having that to be there as the foundational aspect of that song really was it was just such a special thing. So I'm so happy and I feel really lucky that I got to do that with him. There's all kinds of personal things that you can relate to. I think we all can, as either fathers or sons, daughters, parents. There's all kinds of iterations of that relationship and that dynamic that we know in one way or another. So that song, I think, tackles so many things. And of course, just having the power of knowing that it is an expression of the character's revelation of sorts that allows him to move forward, to be a part of the community. I think that is the ultimate power of that song, is that while he may be overwhelmed and paralyzed in a way by the grief and the heartbreak and the enormity of what's happened in his lives and the characters that he's with, there is a sense at the end of that song there is work to be done in terms of putting yourself aside and serving others and being a part of a community. And I think that's super moving.
Yeah. Now that you've tackled this, do you have like Sondheim dream roles that are still on your bucket list that you have yet to play?
No, I really don't. I will just continue to admire and just be gobsmacked by, by how he, created his work. But no, there aren't things that I feel like, I really want to try doing that. A part of it is a lot like Shakespeare. It's such a revered thing that it takes a lot. You got to have we have to have a really strong desire to do it, and a really strong ability to kind of say, okay, I'm going in, I'm gonna tackle this thing that is so so good.
Mhm.
So maybe that's preventing me from wanting to climb the mountain again, but perhaps someday I will.
Well, you all did so good that I should mention this made you a Grammy winner when it won Best Musical Theater Album. So congratulations for that. And you were actually there, I believe, when you
was
got to
I
pick up
was
the award. So what was kind of the highlight of your Grammys experience?
Well, this may sound corny, but I was there with a lot of people in our community who are also nominated, and so people that I know and love, and peers, and people that I just met, and people whose work I'm just getting to know, and you know, being in the Grammy pool is not something you ever expect when you walk into your first day of rehearsal for a show. That is something you never ever kind of plug into the equation. So the whole thing felt, for me personally, I won't speak for anybody else who was there, but it just felt like, really like being a little bit of an imposter syndrome. But recognizing too that there's a reason why there's a category for this music and these kinds of albums, because it's important. It's important to collect these moments in time for these shows that are happening. Yeah, so to be there and then to ultimately have the extraordinary opportunity to win it, it was a thrill. The only drag is that the way that it works in terms of just how it's relegated in terms of who gets to be there. Everybody should be able to get one, but
Right.
this is not the case. So that's my only wish, is they could just kind of chop them up into 24 little Grammys so everybody gets one, because everyone does deserve it. But anyway, that's my only little complaint.
Well, if it's a little one, then that's pretty good. So it was a very well deserved
I'll have
win.
to take it out with the Grammy. The
We'll have to
Grammy
adjust their
committee.
rules just slightly, just slightly.
Can't you just
Um,
make 24 small ones? Come on.
in addition to your theater work, we keep seeing you pop up all the time on film and TV these days with everything. West Side Story, you were in Hawkeye. You were just nominated for an Independent Spirit Award for The Cathedral. Is that balance between theater and screen work active thing that you want? Not every actor is able to kind of bounce back between them the way you do.
It is. It's important for me to be able to try to do as much as I can on either side of the ledger. And not always do you get to say, okay, I want to go over here now. I mean, it's not always the case that you can just say, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. Most of the time, it's kind of where the work takes you. Although I will say, I have made a concerted effort to try to, just because, I love doing film and TV. I've always wanted to
Mhm.
do it. And I think with Spotlight, with being in that movie that got so much attention, rightly so, in my opinion, that helped in terms of just having a chance to be able to be seen in that light, and then kind of starting to cobble together a list of things in that world, whether it's on television or on film. So, but yeah, it is important for me to be able to kind of have a running system, in either of those, worlds, whether it's on stage or, on TV or film. If I can continue to do that, I should be so lucky.
Mm. Well, one thing you're continuing to do right now is you're in rehearsals for a new musical, which I'm very excited for, The Days of Wine and Roses, because you're teaming up with Kelly O'Hara. It's a dream team, reteaming with Adam. Is there anything, without spoiling things and, getting yourself in trouble, what can we look forward to in this show and the music of it?
Well, as you said, I'm just getting ready to finish the first week of rehearsal. And it is a show, a piece that I've been working on, Kelly and I've been working on for a while, just in different iterations and different workshops, etc. But now we're ready to do it, and we're going to do it at the Atlantic Theater. And so that's all very exciting. What I can say about the piece, the thing that gets me very excited about it is it is there's kind of an other worldliness to it. There is a quality to this that I feel that just seems different and unique and unexpected and surprising and just extraordinarily beautiful. Adam Guettel's music it's genius. And Kelly O'Hara is just so exquisite and so amazing as a not only as a vocalist. Everyone knows what she can do as a singer. That is you can't argue with that. But she's just an amazing actor as well. So the combination of the combination of the material that we've been given by Adam and Craig Lucas, who is giving us the words to say, and these characters that he's fleshing out for us. It's just such an honor, because everybody's work, I think, is look, I'm smitten with it, so I could wax on about it, but I just think there's something about it that seems just different. The contour of this piece and the way that it's being told, the way the story is being told, just seems like something that just seems new and different. It makes you have to lean in, and makes you, and hopefully will be as moving as I think it is.
Well, that's very exciting. I can't wait to see it. So we'll look forward to that. Again, amazing job in Into the Woods this season. So thank you for joining me.
Thanks,
For everyone
Sam.
who's out there watching, make sure you subscribe to Gold Derby. Keep up with us for the rest of this season. Brian, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.